What is up, truth? Transparency? What is good? Nothing like some pickles. Do me a favor and hit the thumbs up. Make yourself known. Let me know where you are hanging out from. Just go ahead and dox yourself. Just kidding. You don't have to tell me. Oh my god. I'm having a pickle craving. So I just thought I'd get on a live and start crunching. Like I was having ASMR. Is that what it's called? I don't fucking know what it's called. Whatever. Those are crunchy and juicy. I'm hanging out from my couch. You guys, I have no idea what's in the water. Delphi, Indiana. Literally, I'm going to be covering that case. And this judge had the balls, the tits on this woman to literally say that you could not use the third-party culpability defense. Wait, if I didn't do it, somebody else did. Of course I'm going to use that. No, motherfucker, you ain't. She's a wild one over there. Again, hello, everybody. Come on in chat. Moscow, Idaho4 discovery supplemental request 17 was placed August 26th, 2024. If you guys want to see it, here it is. How can she legally do it? No idea. She just does whatever she wants. I think that's going to be appealed and overturned. So it really doesn't matter what happens in that case, in my opinion, but taxpayers, man. Right there, 17th. You guys, this is what we're talking about today. Because it's time, Bill Thompson. We've waited. We have waited. You know what that means? We have waited for Bill Thompson to toss this on over. 17th supplemental request for discovery in this case. Next week is his deadline for discovery. He has to get everything over to Ann Taylor and Brian Koberger by the 8th of September, unless they're going to try to, I don't know, extend this. I have no idea. Nothing surprises me. You guys know that fucking Coomer Scott Green is on a book tour right now. He's on a book tour in the middle of judge determining where to move this trial. Coomer Scott Green is on a book tour, and he's going to be in Coeur d'Alene this weekend. Okay. I thought it was the 6th. I thought it was the 8th. Either way, 6th, 8th. I thought it was on Monday. Maybe it's the 6th. I thought it was the 9th, 69. Who knows? But I might have another pickle. Can he do it? Will he do it? I think the case is moving, but what do I know? They got the dream team. They're taking the dream team to Boise. I mean, after the Gonsalves just kind of came out and told the world they were jury tampering. Wild shit over there. He is calling it the potential jurors tour. I mean, what a moron. What a moron. You guys, what's so great about that book? I've read that book. That book sucks dick. What's so great about that book? They're all missing for 4 hours in that book. That's what it tells me. Can you imagine one of the family members on a book tour right now? I don't know. I want to take us into Google Maps really quick too. So if we paid close attention to all of the Ann Taylor's words during all the discovery or all the hearings, she made it perfectly clear that we have pieces of stuff, right? We have pieces of stuff, but when are you going to give us like all of everything, right? We have pieces. And here's Bill. We can't give you what we don't have. If we don't have it, we can't give it to you. She just thinks there's stuff that exists that just doesn't exist. And I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. Idaho State Police, they are inept from what I've gathered. Local law enforcement, like, how do you not go and get Super One cameras in Bonners Ferry when every single witness went to Super One? You would think that you would go and get those cameras. Well, these Idaho State Police detectives went to Super One, but didn't get any cameras the day after the murder. So then you think about like this case. And so when they're saying like that there's stuff that doesn't exist, I believe that it doesn't exist. You want to know why? Because they didn't go and get it, you guys. And you have to ask yourself, did they not go and get it because they are stupid? Did they not go and get it because they knew that it could potentially uncover something that, don't go, look the other way, let the 30 days run out? And yes, a parent went on a book tour. Who wrote a book out there? You guys, Sarah Boone has a new attorney, and he did an interview. He did an interview, and he's charging Sarah Boone. You can't fucking make this shit up, man. I knew my binders and my post was going to get her a new attorney. Anyways, I had to just throw that in there. He was darker and had brown eyes. Okay, thank you. So, yes. Back to something here. Ann Taylor says, you've given us pieces of video surveillance. How do you only have pieces of video surveillance? That doesn't even make any sense. Because when you obtain the video, like when you go and obtain the DVR, whatever you're obtaining, when it comes to surveillance, you're asking them for usually a specific like time frame. And nowadays, why wouldn't you just say I want 24 hours. So whenever the murder happened, I want 12 and 12. So if I think the murder happened at this time, I want 12 hours up and I want 12 hours down. But they're breaking Ann off these pieces. And the biggest thing I want to talk about is the construction site and on Main Street. When Payne says that he doesn't not know, he's never heard of this place before. But they gathered video camera footage from it, surveillance cameras, and he has no idea where it's at. You'd have to go. Remember, he's like, go to the evidence locker, basically the evidence custodial person, and they can find that for you. That's how you would find that. Go to the evidence custodial person. WB says Idaho4 is the best original cover-up besides more obvious Karen Reed. The Karen Reed case is about to take off. I'm telling you guys, all these cases are surrounded by corruption. It's the truth. We're not making this up. You guys, I don't cover when people are like, oh, only cases Lana covers, oh, everything's corrupted. No, I just don't cover cases that aren't, because they don't need our help. They don't need attention. They don't need spotlights on it. I mean, Delphi. Can you imagine if Ann Taylor wants to use the third-party culpability defense and judge is like, you're not using that? I'm not going to let you say that, like, the frats were doing some initiation or something like that. I mean, just throwing out whatever. You guys, that's the biggest oxymoron I ever heard. If I say that I didn't do it, that means somebody else did. Why not have my third-party culpability defense? Same thing with Karen Reed. Karen saying, I didn't do it. Well, you're not going to go pointing the finger in here. You can, instead, you could poke hole. Like, what? No. This is America, man. This is America, where we are innocent until proven guilty. I should be able to do whatever the fuck I want to defend myself. Death penalty case? But they're going to let him bring in 60 in Delphi, 60 confessions that none of them are the same. That means that they're all false. That's what a false confession is. Like, these idiots. That is the definition of, like, just go read Jane Fisher's fucking books, man. Definition of a false confession is anything when she says something and any part of it is not the truth. Like, any part of it's not the truth. Okay? Because it doesn't match the evidence, whatever. It's automatically the whole thing's out. So if Richard Allen gave all these different accounts, it's like awful. Like, it's wild. And when you guys ask the experts, they've never heard of somebody confessing 60 times. It's like unheard of. They've never heard of somebody that's ever, wow, they confess 60 times. And they're eating their own shit while they're doing it. Yeah, that sounds like it's totally legit. Oh my God. Unreal, right? There is a 2020 special coming out. Yes. I think it's coming out. Isn't it this weekend? It's on Amazon's Wonderly or whatever that new shit is. That's where the Kelsey brothers got paid $100 million. Amazon bought them for 3 years. Talk about getting paid. Corruption happens with so much delay in a case, in my opinion, because if you got proof, why are you dragging it out unless you're covering your ass? You know that every lawyer is going to always talk you into waiving your right to a speedy trial. You know that? Every lawyer is going to tell you to do that. And I think it's hilarious. Because that's our right for a reason. If you think about it, why would we want to waive that? Do you think that's going to help us or hurt us? Why would I want you to be able to build a case against me? Fuck out of here. You could suck my titties. No. The experts say oh, why'd that pop up like that? Okay. So Brian Culver, though, had no choice because what was it? They wouldn't stay some of the times that they could appeal stuff to, like how they did everything with they appealed to for the grand jury shit, which you guys, it's it's legit appeal. 100% his grand jury was biased and prejudicial, and look at the fucking shit. Out of here. And then you have all this evidence exculpatory that wasn't even, was being hidden. And so that's what we're going to start talking about right now is, all right, Brian Culver case, what are we looking at here, you guys? Because a year, we're at that mark that we're less than a year. June 2nd, this is supposed to kick off. And as an attorney, you have like an internal clock that's kicking and you're like, okay, you have these certain deadlines. And this is when we're going to start seeing motions fly, just kind of like we saw in the Karen Reed case where they're going to start, you have to make a decision. Are you going to suppress stuff or do you want the jury to see how inept people are? Do you want to see like if Brian Culver didn't do it and the only piece of evidence truly against him is that knife sheath that has a speck of DNA on it, but nobody else's DNA, and it's in a blood-stained mat in a bed. Is that your only way to show that you were framed? So if you suppress that, right? If you don't have that, then you don't have anything. I can't believe the people that do these shows out here, like, there's all this evidence against Brian Culver. There's dick against Brian Culver. There's more evidence against Karen Reed than there is against Brian Culver. That's the truth. There's nothing. Yeah. So guys, they're on 17, but guess what? There's supplementals that are before this, like supplemental 16, supplemental I want to see if the other one, the motion to compel. What was the date on the 30th, right? Yeah. So they have the 16th, and then there is still stuff they were waiting from. They did a big old data dump 2 days before Cyree took the stand. And unless they ponied up the data that's missing, you guys remember the statistic that Cyree gave and how much data is missing. And that they did this whole, alleged drive test that they really didn't do, right? So somebody asked me the other day, when did I think a decision was coming with the change of venue? I mean, he could technically take up to 28 days. But I think that'll just put a big old crease in it'll just screw up timetables. So, I mean, I'm guessing by not like this coming Monday, but the following Monday at the latest. Yeah. 18%. Something like that. 18, 17. Something said like 9% of something. There's more evidence against Hoodie Guy for being crazy for leaving dead things on campus. No. Good question here. Did they find any DNA in his apartment, car, or any of the victims? No. There's no link. There's no link. They also did all these search warrants in this case that, except for the AT&T search warrants, everything was done after the arrest of Brian Kober that had anything to do with him. So, like, stuff that we thought was, like, maybe happening between December, let's just say 1st, and the arrest December 30th. I think that just the AT&T stuff's about Brian. Not saying that they didn't get information about Brian other ways, but they didn't have to do they weren't, everything happened after the fact. So I think going through those those subpoenas again, the search warrants, and looking at what's all there, and we don't even have there's going to be stuff that they didn't put out to the public, even on those search warrants. You honestly think Brian is just so unlucky his DNA is on a knife sheath under a murdered body? Honestly. Honestly, I think that it creates more questions than answers for me. Especially if I had the crime scene photos. If I had the crime scene photos and it's as bloody as I think that it would be, and I'm not sold on the time of the crime. So that little window there, I don't care that there would be 7 weeks. People think that he could have cleaned that up. Nope. I've seen now with the case in Virginia with the missing Indian woman, Monsama. They took apart that shower, the tub, and the blood that was under there. They took apart his whole car. I just find it really, truly hard to believe that nothing would transfer. So, again, I also believe, though, that the defense knows that the state has more things, because I don't think that they put everything in the probable cause. But I also just don't trust the Idaho cops right now. I don't trust the methodology and how they got to Brian Kober. I think that's a lot. And I think they're going to have a lot of explaining to do with that, because if you truly were looking for a white Honda Elantra, you would have gotten the list from WSU and the University of Idaho. You would have went through any and everybody's car through a list. So if they weren't like doing that, actively doing that, so then they weren't like, they were just like sitting back waiting, like, oh, we're just going to see what this, if IgG, works. They used IgG in the Delphi case. I want to know what that turned up. CC Moore did it. CC Moore and her team did it. But they did it in the Delphi case, and guess what, guys? The DNA does not belong to Richard Allen. So there's DNA at the crime scene that does not belong to Richard Allen. Let me guess, Gull. I can't use that to defend my client either, right? You also have unknown DNA at the crime scene that the cops just felt like we don't have to go fucking look and see whose DNA that is. I would think that this crime could have potentially been done by more than one person. So I just find it really bothersome that you wouldn't think that DNA could be important. I'm interested in the fact that Ann Taylor and her team truly believes in Brian's innocence. And no, I just don't think she's doing that just to do it. I don't. I think that this team has been zealously defending him because they believe that they have a factually innocent client. And I think that the amount of work that this team has put in, you just don't get to see it on this type of a level. And so it's interesting. Thank you for responding and being fair with your response. Oh, I think that I'm always fair. The moment that I become biased or not fair, not like objective, then I shouldn't talk about that case anymore. The minute that I see evidence that shows me that Brian Kober is guilty, I'm gonna say, "Oh, damn! Look at that piece. Oh, it's gonna be hard to get over that. Like, that's, ooh, like right now, I'll tell you that I don't think Shanna Gardner had a damn idea about Mario going and doing what he did. I think that Mario killed Jared Brightingham and didn't go through her at all. I think he killed him to try to keep his cush life. But something's totally off about that Shanna Gardner case, though, too. Because talk about some crooked ass shit that's going on in Jacksonville. I also think that they could have played their cards totally different. Jose Baez knew that he could have played that so many different ways. And I think that if you're guilty, you play it differently. She truly wants out right now on bail so that she could be with her kids. I also went through their whole divorce, and it's not what people think. It's not what's being put on the internet. It's 900 pages. It's a lot of repetitive stuff, but Jared Brightingham left his kids off and went to Utah and was gone for like a year, if not longer. I don't know. And talk about one crazy way to like pay for a hit. Get the fuck out of here. Checks. It's 2024. People don't even write checks to buy like fucking tampons, groceries. I mean, come on. You gotta write a check for a fucking hit. Out of here. Sorry, but that's just crazy. You know what I mean? And I feel like the Idaho4 case, it keeps evolving with like people's stories. But back to these deadlines, we're gonna start seeing Franks. I know for a fact that the defense, they've come out and said it. They are not filing anything sealed. Okay, unless they truly have to. And so that means like we're gonna get the documents. We're gonna get the documents. I know that the state's gonna try to. They're gonna say, well, if you're trying to suppress something, then why would you want to put this document out? I would try to get this motherfucker dismissed. I think that probable cause affidavit's bullshit. I think that they lied. I think that Payne lied. I think that they knew that they lied. They misled the courts. And people have been asking me why aren't they asking for him to get bail, blah, blah. You guys, sometimes you're safer where Brian is if he's not being, I don't know. He could go be like Casey Anthony and go live with Jose Baez and go live with his attorney, Ann Taylor. And they can go hang out together, I guess. So, can you imagine that? You guys, these judges literally are all sitting right now with so many huge decisions to make in these cases that we're following. And you know why they have these huge decisions to make? Because these fucking prosecutors are idiots. These prosecutors, in my opinion, are putting these judges in horrible situations. Because if you think about it, the prosecutor could go and sit down with the defense attorneys and say, okay, listen, we kind of agree with you that, Brian wouldn't get a fair trial here. So let's talk about some options. But if you think that type of conversation is happening with Ann Taylor and Bill Thompson's teams, that's not happening. It should be, but it's not. So I personally believe that these prosecutors are putting judges in really bad situations. Like the Jose Baez, Shanna Gardner case in Jacksonville, Jared Bryan's case. Those two prosecutors, I can't even believe. I hope they get disbarred. I think ADA Stifler and Maserati can just go off in the... There's no place for that shit. At the very least, that cop lied. She led him down a path of lies, and they misled the courts with the financial documents. How can they represent the DA's office? That's our office. That's the people's office, if you think about it, right? Fucking wild. Yeah, I agree. Prosecutors are treating law like a game. I agree. Versus out to find the truth. And they're also treating it like sides. I hate that. What's the deal with the two survivors? I think their phones, or what's the deal? Their phones are going to be off the chains, guys. Woo-wee. Oh, I welcome different opinions. Yeah. For me, everybody kept saying that, the car is going to be lit up with, it's like a secondary crime scene. The car, then you still have like his apartment, his parents' house, all of his footprints, like his phone. It's going to get trapped up somewhere. It would have been linked to like I said, all the things that they tried to say was there, but we keep coming and finding out at these hearings that they got dick, and then you come to find out that the only way that you actually had his phone number to like go to be able to even compare it to the towers to see is because he signed some ticket and put his phone number down. I couldn't tell you last time I put my phone number and give my phone number for a ticket. I mean, I'm not getting pulled over every day, but and then Brian Kober all of a sudden was getting pulled over left and right. Very strange. People have asked me, no, I do not believe Brian Kober was a Fed or anything like that. Not in the slightest. I don't. If that was the case, this would be handled in federal court. Again, my opinion. I want to hear them admit that they picked money over doing this case the right way. And when I say they picked money, they picked the university keeping its like, we're so pure, blah, blah. And this was an outsider. And then this was targeted isolated attack. Not if you arrested Brian Kober. He's about to go kill again. You know what I mean? You just let your community sit like sitting ducks, like anybody's about to go next. If you think Brian Kober is the guy, then he was going to kill again because he's a serial killer. Brian Kober had no reason to kill those people. So if he did kill them, he just killed them for no reason. Just because he wanted to kill somebody. So why do we think Ann Taylor wants that video so bad? Take a look. There's no motive. The motive is that you're going to have to portray him as a serial killer or wanting to be a serial killer. You know what I mean? If he hasn't killed before, so he's... I'm curious who they're going to get to testify to say that Brian Kober was a sicko. Because, guys, it's 2024. Back then it was 2022. Everybody has phones, okay? Everybody has phones. You guys, just in passing, we could occasionally like be recording something and we catch, somebody in the background or, oh my God, I know that person, blah, blah, or, but just think about this. Nothing has emerged. There is not a single person has come forward to say they know Brian Kober and like are showing like legit, like, oh, hey, oh my God, we went to the game like that day. There's just these weirdos have come out and said, oh, I had a TikTok Tinder date with him. I don't believe that for a fucking second. I don't believe any of these people. Come out and spit. Like, if you're going to show me some receipts here. He told me I had childbearing hips. Get the fuck up out of here. You sound like an idiot. Even if that's true, like, wouldn't you have a paper trail of your communication on that app? You have communication that stays. It just doesn't disappear. What is up, girl? Miss King? Lana girl, need your brains. Baldwin Rossi got this. But deep dive time. Justice for these girls and innocent man. Girl, They strapped him there. I think they were going to get a double take at Delphi because I think this is going to get appealed. That one Tinder girl, the childbearing hips girl, was legit looking for attention, right? ABC put her on their fucking show. You guys remember, like, ABC validated her. Even, like, I want to see your messages. I want to see what his screen name was. I asked Dave. There ain't nobody that knows him. University of Idaho. There ain't nobody that knows him. Wild. Yes, Kate, I agree. I want to hear from the ME 100. I want to hear on these wounds. I want to know if Ann Taylor could, I mean, is there an argument to be had there that these wounds aren't consistent with that size of a knife? It would have to be like way bigger. You know what I mean? Something like that. Or, I mean, because we do have Steve Gonsalves coming out and saying the points of damage don't match, right? The points of damage don't match. And he likes to slip with the tongue. I mean, he called it. He said that they were going to use, let's use like the third party genealogy stuff. Remember back then? What happens? Boom. There's a reason that they stopped telling Steve stuff, guys. And I think it's because he was telling the world, like, he was telling us things. But I also find it kind of hard to believe that a guy is questioning their, like, everything that they're doing, and then all of a sudden now he's just backing them, and maybe he just feels like he has no choice. But someone that was really highly critical all of a sudden is okay, you know. But yeah, 17 discovery requests. That means the shit that you are getting when you're going through it, there's stuff that tells you, like, oh, let's go check out that interview because it has this, or this, or they say something in it that's leading you somewhere, and then you're going to look for it and you can't find it. Like, it's stuff like that. With supplementals, it's everything that you're coming across when they're giving you stuff. So think about that. And these requests aren't like one request per, submission. Like, these are a ton of shit. And Ann Taylor's going to be a stickler with that. Like, if we don't get it, like, it's not going to be this, oh, we happen to find it, here it is type of thing. Nope, it's out. It's out. So Joshua says, all the ladies in here, how many of you guys have ever been told that you have childbearing hips? I agree there, Mr. Tommy there. Brian's innocent until proven guilty, and what I see is a lot of lies in that PCA. I see a lot of like, I see a lot of like, it's gonna be there. It's gonna be there once we do X, Y, and Z. But but if you have all eyes, see, that's the other thing. Like, when you listen to like an educated man like Cy talk, and an educated woman like Carrie talk about investigations because they've done them. If you got all eyes on him, all right, well, you're working the case to like put it all together so you can actually like prosecute it and be successful, the last thing that you'd want to do is just like fuck it up on some technicalities, right? And that's what they were telling us the whole time, was like, be patient, this stuff takes time, be patient. And then it's like they weren't the ones that could be patient. Like, they're the ones that pulled the fuckerage. Oh, girl. I literally dated a guy who had an Excel spreadsheet of qualities he looked for and showed me where I fell on his wish list. I'll get tipsy on a live and we're going to go ahead and make a land Excel spreadsheet, okay? All right. Do you think Dylan cleaned up? No, I don't even know if Dylan was there. I don't even know if that girl was there. I'm telling you, they need to consider those stairs that are right next to the house with that dog barking. Because I want to know if it could be considered that you could people think that you're going upstairs when you're actually outside going up those stairs? Could people think that you're inside that house going upstairs? No, but do you guys remember right the day of the arrest, day after the arrest, day before the arrest? They were in the phase of they were going to go ahead and clean up the crime scene, and remember that, and they got put to a halt because Ann Taylor was like, psh, she put a stop to that, like to preserve the crime scene. And so Fry had to come out and say, "Oh yeah, we're not sending crews out." Remember that? Who the fuck do they think they are to just get in there? Like, you've left it. Here, we're gonna make this arrest, and now, but get in there, and we're gonna go clean it. We're gonna go clean it up. And Ann Taylor is no schluff. She's with it and immediately preserved the crime scene. Do you guys remember that? Wouldn't that be the last thing on your mind? It's like, look, hey, we're about to make this. Go ahead, put that in. Get all those people set up. We're going to go in there and remember all that shit? My question is, how did they get an indictment if they didn't have all? Because they lied. That's what Ann Taylor was saying. Ann Taylor wrote, they did that whole push for the grand jury to be thrown out because of what was said, the bias, that they were biased, what was given to them. And everybody was focusing on the wrong parts about that. That Ann Taylor's just stalling. Ann Taylor's just stalling. The fuck she was. There might have been some arguments about what is probable cause versus beyond a reasonable doubt, but that's not the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about what the grand jury was given. Who did the testifying? They had to pull out all those strings to restructure. That's when Mowry got brought in April. Mowry testified at the grand jury. There was a reason he had to, though. I think that'll come out. If the sheath gets suppressed, what do they have? How do you win this case? How do you truly win this case without that sheath? The answer is you can't, right? Could anybody find Brian Kohlberg guilty without the sheath? you're going to have what? You're going to just say that, oh, his phone was off during the time of the crime. But you have Cy saying that that's not the case, right? It was just on different towers and traveling different areas. And so when anybody wants to argue about the Brian Culver case, the Idaho4 case, just simply say to somebody, without the sheath, what do you have? What is there? See what their answer is. Ask them if they can convict. Could you convict Brian Culver without the sheath? And the answer for me is no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because that's that's the only way that you got him. He wasn't even in like the circle of friends or somebody that these people knew. Like nothing. You're not getting to him. Right? And so then doesn't that just blow your mind when people say that there's all this evidence against them? That's just the one thing you got to just say to somebody is, okay, if there's no sheath, can you convict him? Based off of what we know right now. You can't even put BK in the house. I think that simple question right there I don't know why that isn't like, whoa, wow. When you put it that way, like how does that not just like make your head go like, wow. The Richard's pulling out. Haha, Richard. Have a good night. Love you, man. No sheath, no equals no arrest, right? I don't know. Right now, law enforcement can't even prove the burglary charge. Yeah. There's a lot more people than Brian Culver that would know that house was just never locked and, just waltz right in. How would Brian know that? You know what I mean? Brian go up to, he was just trying. According to them, he's just driving all over, right? He made 4 loops around that house, but before that, he was over there in 700 block. If he was just driving around, don't you think that he was just driving around to just, okay, what house am I going to hit up? Everyone's saying like he was waiting. He kept on driving by because he was waiting for them to go to sleep. You guys, I don't believe that for one second. If it's Brian Culver, no way. He's driving around and just, who am I going to go kill tonight? I don't think that he was like, I'm going to go kill at that house. I think that there's a ton of different houses that were up for the pickings. You want to know why everybody should feel that way? Because Brian Culver is a serial killer in the minds of anybody that thinks he's guilty. And everybody that thinks it's him. So doesn't that bother you to know that this was not an isolated targeted attack? But the inside, remember the initial crime scene, what was the word that they used during their preliminary investigation? The crime scene basically spoke to them and said that this was an isolated targeted attack. No, the fuck it wasn't. But I can't wait for them to have to say what. Either, yeah, no, it wasn't, but we just didn't want to scare the community. Okay. You guys, maybe that makes more sense of why they brought all those motherfucking people in that town. Because when I'm saying that, like, all like hey, we have 50 feds in there. We have 50 Idaho State Police. We got everybody working it in Moscow. But we need all these people because this is not an isolated targeted attack. And we're going to have mass, like, we need to be vigilant. But we're going to tell the community that they're fine and just to continue on. Because that's what they did. I think the only reason they said it was a targeted attack was to not have the community, everybody leave. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, this has been a money thing from the beginning. They couldn't have everybody fleeing the campus, but then they just went ahead and said, oh, you guys can take the classes like basically online. You can do. They kind of went back to like the way you could do with COVID. But they were trying to keep a community from being like wilding out. And it all has to do with money. Think about it. How many kids would have left? All those businesses, all the fast food places, nobody been, restaurants, anything that you go to, gas stations. Damn it, Lana, answer me, woman. Oh, what's your question? Sorry. This thing just keeps on scrolling. I'm just trying to snatch them up. This has always been about money. I think everything that Idaho does is about money. What government isn't about money, though? What about Linda Lane? Fuck Linda Lane. What about it? What's up, Bear? What's up? What's up? I think people should wonder how it leaked. Thank you. Much love and respect to you too. I think I'm more interested to know why it leaked, who leaked it, how did it leak. I'm more interested in that. I'll tell you what Linda Lane does, though. It makes that Joseph Morris guy not look like a fucking liar. So I don't know where he's at, but remember that Joseph Morris, that YouTuber? Remember he played like that Scream or whatever? BK sure liked driving by the crime scene. Why? When? The night of the murder? Linda Lane is real footage. I believe it's real footage. I don't believe what people think that they hear. Being there, everything is super close. It echoes a lot. If I'm yelling from the one end to the other end, like you'd be able to hear me. So I think I personally think that Linda Lane's going to help whoever would be the defendant. You guys, like, in a PCA, they said there was nobody out and about. Okay, that there was hardly any cars, and there's just walkers. But then you have the officers that were the undercover people saying how like they got students walking all over. I think Linda Lane is going to help anybody that would be the defendant. You know what the other thing is going to help the defendant is law enforcement better have identified the people that you can legit see in the body cam of the people that are walking from that King Roadhouse area. They better know who those people are. That's going to be really, really bad if they don't. My eyes would be swollen shut tomorrow with all the salt in those pickles. Oh, they're just so juicy. Oh. I think if this gets moved to Boise, this is no longer an open and shut case. And I mean, I don't think that's open shut right now, but I don't think that Brian Kober would be acquitted in Moscow, in Latah. But I think that Brian would have a chance at a hung jury. That's like going to be his best there. But if this moves to Boise, yeah, there's a decent chance at an acquittal. If the sheath goes, he's not going to prison. If it comes out that they lied about the drive test, and let me just put it to you this way: if the car and the phone data isn't matched up, then what? Now you have phone data that you're saying is traveling around, but now we can put this phone data that you're trying to use in this vehicle. Now they're not matched up. So now what happens? I mean, these investigators, these detectives, whoever was on this case, royally fucked this up. If Brian Kober is the guy, I believe there's a chance that a murder will walk. Anybody that's out there saying there's all this evidence, they're completely fucking lying. There is no evidence. There's one thing, and then it's just truly going to be interesting when we get to hear this testimony on how they got to Brian Kober, because I don't give a fuck about IGG. I don't care. That would, like, you would sit down as a community after, watch those Datelines and listen to those guys talk and listen to them try to take stuff to prosecutors. And prosecutors, you would think like, hey, okay, this is enough. And they're like, no, this is not enough. This is not enough. I need this. I need this. I need this. Here, here we got IGG. We got IGG. Oh my God. Oh, yep. It's enough. Now just build backwards, make it all fit. That's what they did. And I can't wait till they have to testify to that. And that's not investigating. They need to eliminate things. And so I can't wait to hear how they eliminated people. You know, they're just so quick to come out and say, this person isn't involved, and we don't believe that this person is involved, and this person is. Why the fuck are you saying any of that? You don't need to. And hopefully they learn their lessons, because they don't need to say any of that. But you eliminate things. And I just don't see that they did that throughout their investigation. They weren't eliminating things. And the other question I love when people say, well, if it's not Brian Kober, then who is it? It's like Brian Kober wasn't even on your radar when y'all were talking about all these suspects, okay? I think it's really freaky that the frats and that the sororities are all obsessed with knives, and that they're chasing each other around going like this in videos and stabbing people and going like this, and like then killing fucking animals, and everything's knives. They're all dressing up as Halloween, and we used to dress up as sluts. You remember? Now everybody's dressing up as bloody people with knives. And there's all these pictures with them all with knives. And then here these people in that house are all murdered with a knife. To the transparency, you showed us a dash cam video of one of the girls getting into a car late one night. You can elaborate. Oh, because that person came from late at night, the body cam. Yeah. Oh, because they all, like, when they would come home from being out at night, then they were like, hey, I'm going to go over to so-and-so's house. And whether they were doing like a booty call hookup thing but it was very, that was normal for people just to like be in that area and just to like leave their house and then walk over to somebody else's house that's like right in, because it's all a group of friends and stuff like that. And that would be normal for those girls that live there, other houses. That's why the body cams I thought were very, really important to take a look at and to see how they lived over, like to see how it was. And it was just like everybody just came and went, and all the doors were unlocked. And oh, hey, I'm on my way over. Okay, I'll leave the door unlocked for you. You know what I mean? Because remember, there was no sign of forced entry. Every time Brian Kober picks a house, he knows that he doesn't have to like sneak into or break into. He just walked in. Think about all the people want to talk about luck. People want to talk about luck. What are the odds that you can brutalize 4 people like that and think that no one's going to call 911 until noon? And so now you're just like when this could have happened is all the time they went to bed till the time you called 911. So it's a huge window now, and they have to like shrink it all down. And they managed to shrink it down to what, 17-minute window over a 9-hour period. And they're doing it off of what again? I'm shocked that they don't have any camera footage of Brian Colbert getting out of a vehicle and going into that house with all the cameras over there, because there are cameras over there. You think someone like Brian Colbert, who's studying to do all this and that he would drive his own personal car over there? Remember he's giving out those surveys. What would you do differently? Right? Stuff like that. I don't know. You think a PhD student's going to circle around the house 4 fucking times? This is the house I'm going to kill people at, and I'm going to circle around it 4 times. It's pretty fucking stupid if you ask me. It's pretty stupid. But people could be like, well, Brian Colbert isn't street smart. He may be book smart, but he's not street smart. I don't think that that's street smart, though. Like, street smart is acting, to me, like on the whim. That would have been a plan, like, to know that you can't make circles around the house. Like, that would have been, like, to me, a book smart thing. And there's a reason that Bethany has allegedly exculpatory evidence versus Dylan. I think they went with something that Dylan had said. And I believe that has something to do with the time of the crime. And I believe that if Bethany's over here saying, I didn't even see Dylan come home, I didn't even see her that night, it kind of puts is she in a way combating that Dylan was even there? So then she didn't see this masked man. Lana Glitch is asking if you were still doing a follow-up video to the body cam of the girls coming home. He's asking if you're going to show the follow-up to that. Yeah, I was waiting to see if they were going to release a couple other ones to see if these other incidences. I don't know if I showed you guys the one that we're working on right now. We are working on a body cam that has to do with a female who alleged that a police officer put a tracking device. Let me pull up the incident. Okay. Reporting party says that she thinks a Moscow police officer put a tracking device on her car because things look weird under her hood and her phone is acting weird. No report. Thought that was worth getting some information on. We'll see. Can you imagine somebody calling in and saying that? In this case, nobody wants to. Like, not like, I want to know why she thought it was a police officer. Was she dating a police officer? Reporting party is reporting that she thinks a Moscow police officer put a tracking device on her car because things look weird under her hood and her phone is acting weird. No report. And now I'm just curious as to why this person believes that a Moscow police officer put a tracking device on her car versus like a student or somebody that she was dating. Or if you're dating a police officer, then maybe you would be saying that the reporting party thinks that her boyfriend put a tracking device. It's interesting. So we're in the works to see what we can come up with that. Was that today? No, it wasn't today. We're going to find out if something's going to come of it. We'll know here soon. It's an interesting location too. It's on Maine. We want to find out about this. I just want to know why you would be blaming the cops. I think it's interesting. So, all right. I want to keep this right around an hour. You guys rock. I'm going to be going live right back to back, like after this. And I'm firing up because I'm reading off a couple different things that I wanted to finish up with the Drake case that I had breaking news on today. I also came across some new names that I'm releasing, but because we are on a full-fledged train ride to literally pull up every drunk in Bonner's Ferry and let the world know that you were a drunk and we're wondering if you were partying with Brian Drake. Were you guys having drunk fests? No. You guys rock, though. Thank you so much. The discovery deadline, like I said, this week or Monday. And curious if Bill Thompson's going to ask for an extension. Curious if we're going to get a ruling. I believe that's going to happen at least. If it's not by next Monday, it'll be like the following Monday. He likes to come back with rulings, though, on Fridays, so I could see something like that. But I think we're going to start seeing heavy motions here, like heavy hitters, between the end of September, October, and November. Like big ones. Like big. Like big. Because Idaho's got some problems on their hands. So, again, thank you guys for being awesome in chat. Thank you for all the questions. Tomorrow night we're doing a tour with Green, and we are going to call Moscow citizens and ask them if they've read, heard, or seen Green's book and what they thought about chapter 43, and what do they think about the president of the university writing a book about the murders and claiming that he has a go-to handbook on how to handle crisis situations. So we're going to see if anybody answers those calls. So join me. I will be reading that chapter so everybody knows about it. And then we're just going to make a few phone calls. And we're going to see if anybody in the dorm / sorority / frats, if they have any comments. What do you guys think about that book? Have you guys bought the book? Do you know that he's on a world tour in Coeur d'Alene right now? Have you got an autograph book? Do you ever see Scott Green out and about? Where does he like to hang out? It's the go-to manual when a crisis hits and people stab all your students. Yep. So again, Snoop. I mean, no, if Green wants to be this dumb, I guess we got to get dumb too and find out what people think about it. But yeah, he's signing books in Coeur d'Alene. He's doing meet and greets. I don't know. I think he should just stick to doing shots with students. I think that's way better. I personally enjoyed his shots with students. Again, thank you guys for the new memberships, upgraded memberships, WB and Shauna King for the love on the super chats. You guys rock. Click on the next link that pops up if you want to hear about Brian Drake and his murder, and that they wanted to frame a 63-year-old chiropractor, and that all stems from Jennifer Drake's bogus motive, and the police needing to follow suit because they in some shit over there. Human trafficking, drug trafficking, gun trafficking, you name it. Bunch of fucking whacks up in Bonners right now. Whacks be running it up over there. Love you, Lana. You're the best. Oh, thank you. Peace.